Hello everybody. So earlier today we got a whole bunch of Pixel news. We got the supposed announcement and release date of the Pixel Fold along with the price, the release date of the Pixel 7a, as well as some specs and the price, and then colors as well. We're going to get to that in a second. And actually some news about the 6a. We're going to leave that till the end. So this is all via Jon Prosser on Twitter. He is a known leaker. Actually, I'm not even sure if I follow him. I do not, so let's follow him really quick. So he's very trusted as far as his leaks go. He leaks stuff very often, actually. And we got some details about the Pixel Fold, as you can see here. Looking good, just like always. I'm very excited to get this. I'm actually a little nervous as well. It's the same nervousness I had when Star Wars first came out. I was excited to watch it, but was also very afraid that I was going to be disappointed and that like someone else was going to be able to, see it before me and, spoil it. And in this case, I'm I'm skeptical. I love it, but I'm also a little on edge. So this is the Pixel Fold. The announcement is supposedly going to be May 10th. The pre-order from the Google store is going to start May 10th. The pre-order from partners, which I would assume to be like Best Buy and then carriers, is May 30th. Either way, it's going to be available June 27th. So this is better news than I was anticipating. I figured they had pushed this back until the fall because it's a big release. It's going to cause a lot of talk, and I just assumed that it was going to be released along with the Pixel 8 because it's such a big release. I didn't figure, which actually makes more sense now, that if it's a big release, give it its own release. But I figured they would want to add more gasoline to that fire versus create another smaller fire partway through the year, if that makes sense. But it keeps it in the news cycle. It's going to be in the news cycle anyway because of the 7a, and then apparently Pixel Buds A Series 2 new color, possibly, but that's a whole different topic. I'm still very excited for this. As you can see here as well, the estimated price is what he's saying is going to be $1,800. So the same price as the Fold. A little disappointed in that. So the Galaxy Fold is known for being one of the most expensive phones like ever to be created, and this is the same price. I was hoping it was going to be slightly lower. Google tends to shoot a little bit lower when it comes to price to kind of beat out the competition, but I mean, I sell these phones every single day. I'm in an environment where I'm constantly answering questions on the difference between Pixel and what's the difference between Pixel and Android? What's the difference between Galaxy and Android? What's the, all kinds of questions you can think of. And Google has enough of an edge in A, design, B, features, like call screening and Magic Eraser and True Tone, stuff like that, that people generally know about at this point, that they actually have an edge. Like I usually give 2 to 3, features of a phone if I'm going to be like offering it to a customer or pitching it or however you want to phrase it. If I'm discussing it with a customer who's asking questions, usually I'll say like, oh, this one's really good. It has this, this, and this. That's why you would want it. Usually it honestly ends up being steered towards the Pixel 7 Pro, even if I'm comparing it to the Galaxy S23 Ultra, which I think is really interesting because the S23 Ultra, and this is one of those things that I mentioned, those features, is a lot more powerful. It has a better processor because it's a year forward, and it's just a beast of a processor. It's a beast of a phone. I still sell more Galaxies, but the 7 Pro, its features and its design and the simplicity of it and all that stuff, it has a strong enough pull that it goes to bat with the S23 Ultra very well. It's not like people have to like be on board or they have to like give something up if they're going to use a Google phone. So probably what the angle is here is that Google's branding has gotten so much better over the years, especially because of they're at Coachella right now. Being in places where people are and doing fun activities with people in New York or people in Chicago or like stuff like that. And then the Super Bowl commercials, obviously. I think that their brand has gotten a lot stronger over the last few years. So probably what they're going for is they don't want to be seen as a lesser value device, which is fair. I do like the trend of them costing less than the competition. But that's probably a good decision on their part with this, even though it's very expensive. I still got to figure out how I'm even going to get my hands on one of these, even if I want one. Because that's half my car down payment. Like, that's a lot of money for a phone. I'm still seeing these top and bottom bezels. I'm assuming that we're going to get some reason for this. It's not going to be anything like huge. Like, it's not going to annoy me or anything. And I really dislike the bezel conversation. I think it's really dumb and very first world problems. But I'm assuming the cameras and all that stuff, and with all the googly magic, is going to be packed into this. So no worries. It looks a little bit different than the pictures I saw before. And I may just be misremembering it, but they just look a little bit more obvious than I thought. So the second leak we've gotten today is also from Jon Prosser. Pixel 7a comes in black, white, C, which is light blue, and we'll see that picture in a second, and coral, Google Store only. The announcement is going to be May 10th, available for purchase immediately. So I think that's really interesting. The other piece that I was going to talk about with this is that the 6A apparently will not be discontinued, which is a new one for Google. So I'm really interested to see where this goes. I'm sure there's some, you can find this on Twitter as well. I'm sure there's some like speculation and, on price and why they're not discontinuing the 6A, or potentially maybe lowering that price. Something a little bit even more affordable than $449 or whatever it started at, because they're going to continue updating it with software updates since it's a tensor processor. This is really cool. Let's go over to the 9to5 Google. There it is right there, courtesy of Max Weinbach. And there's the blue. Looks really cool. I believe it's supposed to have wireless charging as well as the ultra-wide lens from the Pixel 7 and 7 Pro. So I would assume that means it's going to be a glass back. I'm not 100% sure if that's something that we even know yet, or if we're still going off assumptions as it is. But so yeah, the slight piece of bad news is that it can confirm the price of the Pixel 7a will be $449, a $50 increase from last year's model. And then there's a little bit of discussion here on why it's slightly more expensive. It says this increase likely comes from the new design and improvements. Google is upgrading the main camera to a 64 megapixel main sensor, very worth $50, flanked by a 13 megapixel ultra wide shooter, which again is the same as the 7 and the 7 Pro. This is outside of the Tensor G2 processor found in the 7 and 7 Pro, and 90 hertz display. I actually really like 90 hertz display. I have never really been a fan of the 120. If I could downgrade my 7 Pro to 90 hertz, I would be completely happy, because I would be trading it for better battery life. I wish that was an option, because I like 90 hertz looks just as good as 120 hertz to me. I can barely even tell the difference. So it says, again, luckily Google isn't getting rid of all the lower price options. The 6A is still on deck at a decreased price. So maybe it's going to become the whole, that's something really smart that Apple has done, is keep their, as they continue to support their devices, they keep them on sale and available through the Apple Store or through replacement programs or whatever the case may be. So I like seeing a wider multi-year phone, lineup starting to come to fruition through Google. I think that's really cool. Let's look at this coral option thing really quick. Prosser also noted the phone will be sold in a coral color option solely on the Google Store, in addition to previously leaked colors. So that's something really cool too. Something that Apple actually doesn't do. Usually they'll sell their special color on the Google Store only, or it's much harder to get through Best Buy or whatever. Part of that is just because everyone wants the black one anyway. 80% of things I sell at AT&T either are black, or the person doesn't care what color it is. I'll ask what color, and they're like, I don't care. What do you have? Black, white? It's just a phone. I'm going to put a case on it. So there's probably a couple of reasons for that, but that's pretty cool. Unfortunately, we don't have any news on a Pixel Watch 2 yet. I'm hoping to have a larger size, closer to my favorite smartwatch, the Galaxy Active Watch 2. Slightly larger than the Pixel Watch. I'm really hoping for a size like that. I've always liked this watch. It's one I've got just chilling around here. I use it for like sleep tracking or whatever, because it does actually, I really like Samsung's sleep tracking. So no news on that yet, but that's fine. I mean, watches are usually updated like every 2 years. The technology doesn't move enough to update them more anyway. So that's it for today's roundup. Let me know which one you're looking forward to the most and which one you were going to pick up quicker. And also tell me how you're going to buy the Pixel Fold, because I don't know how I'm going to get my hands on this. I am very concerned that I will not be able to get my hands on this unless I was to like move over to like Verizon or something like that as my carrier. Because I don't think I can drop $1,800 in 2 months on a phone. I just can't think of any scenario where I would be able to justify that much money. That's a lot of money. So tell me which one you're looking forward to the most, and what your plan is to get this phone, because I want to use your idea if it's good. And thanks for watching. Sub if you don't mind. Happy hunting for your new phones.